Okay, here's a thought to start us off. What if the secret to achieving, well, everything you desire was actually to do nothing at all? Or, what if finding real strength meant being incredibly soft, yielding? Today, we're doing a deep dive into one of the most ancient, most profound texts out there, the Tao Te Ching. And this isn't just any book. It's this amazing collection of poetic wisdom. They say it's from the legendary Lao Tzu, written maybe 2,500 years ago, maybe more. Our mission today, to kind of unpack these ancient verses, pull out the big ideas, and see what timeless insights they might hold for your life right now.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating, I think, about the Tao Te Ching is how it manages to be both incredibly simple on the surface and yet just profoundly complex underneath. It really challenges our usual ways of thinking about success, power, even reality itself. It pushes you to consider perspectives that might feel completely backwards at first.
Okay, let's get into it then. We've got these 81 short chapters, right? Each one has like a little nugget of wisdom. We're going to try and pull out some of the surprising bits, those aha moments. Hopefully give you a good shortcut to feeling, well-informed on this incredible work. So let's start with the absolute core concept, the Tao. But here's where it gets really interesting, like right away. The very first line tells us, the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. So it's unnameable, eternally real, but beyond description.
Exactly. And that immediately raises the question, well, if you can't name it or fully describe it, how on earth do you understand it? The text suggests it's the origin of all particular things, the eternally real. It's even called darkness within darkness, the gateway to all understanding.
Sure.
Thinking that less like a thing or a deity even, and more like the fundamental flow or principle of the universe, the natural order behind everything.
Right, something we can't quite label or control. It's described in places like a well, isn't it? Used constantly, but it never runs dry. Or like an empty space, a void, but filled with infinite possibilities. Hidden, but always there. Older than God, as chapter 4 puts it.
That's a great way to put it. It's presented as the Great Mother, too empty yet inexhaustible, giving birth to countless worlds. It's infinite, eternal, never born, never dying. It doesn't have desires for itself, which is why it's present for all beings, always. And there's that amazing line about it being, smaller than an electron, but containing uncountable galaxies.
Wow.
The core idea is its universal presence, even though it's fundamentally beyond our complete grasp.
Okay, so if that's the Tao itself, how does it show up in the world? A big piece of this seems to be about opposites, right? How they depend on each other. The text says something like, when people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly. When people see some things as good, other things become bad. It forces you to look at judgment.
Precisely. It highlights this idea that being and non-being create each other. Difficult and easy need each other to exist. Long and short define one another. And this isn't just abstract philosophy. It changes how we see everything. It points out that the Tao itself doesn't pick sides. It gives rise to both what we call good and what we call evil.
So the master, this sort of ideal figure in the text, they welcome everyone, saints and sinners alike, because it's all part of this continuous balancing act. And you get these really challenging lines like, success is as dangerous as failure, hope is as hollow as fear. It seems to suggest that getting attached to any extreme, even a good one, is risky, creates instability.
Exactly right. The Tao is described as adjusting excess and deficiency so that there is perfect balance. It naturally takes from where there's too much and gives to where there isn't enough. So it really pushes us, question our basic assumptions about good and bad and see how it's all connected.
Okay, so given all this, the big question becomes, how do we actually live like that? How do we live in harmony with this Tao? What does the text say about the way of the master?
Well, the master acts without doing anything and teaches without saying anything. Now, this concept, Wu Wei, it's often translated as non-action, or maybe effortless action. Crucially, it's not about being lazy or passive. It's about letting things happen naturally, doing things without needing to possess the outcome, acting without expectation. And when the work's done, you just forget it, let it go. And that, the text says, is why the master's influence lasts forever.
Okay, so it sounds like doing nothing, but it's actually this really powerful, effortless kind of action. Takes us back to that opening paradox. The master leads by, emptying people's minds and filling their cores, helping people lose everything they know, everything they desire. It's about practicing not doing so that everything will fall into place. That feels Yeah, very counter to our modern hustle culture.
Oh, absolutely. And it applies directly to your personal life, too. The text asks things like, can you deal with the most vital matters by letting events take their course? Or can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things? It's really about finding fulfillment within, not chasing it outside. Stop seeking fulfillment. Just be present. True mastery comes from letting things go their own way. You can't force it. You can't gain it by interfering.
This really does offer some surprising ideas for just personal well-being, like comparing the highest good to water. Water nourishes everything without trying to. Yeah. And it's happy in the low places, the places people look down on.
Yeah, and building on that metaphor, the advice gets quite practical. And where you live, stay close to the ground, stay humble. In your thinking, keep it simple. In family life, be fully present. And the results, it's profound. When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you.
It's about inner contentment, not external validation. You know, there's this passage that really stands out to me. It cuts against so much of what we're told today. It says, fill your bowl to the brim and it will spill. Keep sharpening your knife and it will blunt. Chase after money and security and your heart will never unclench. Care about people's approval and you will be their prisoner.
Wow.
It's powerful stuff.
And the advice that follows is just do your work, then step back. The only path to serenity. It's all about letting go, isn't it?
It really is. And it forces you to ask, well, what does it really mean to be rich? The text says point blank. If you realize that you have enough, you are truly rich. It shifts the whole focus. It emphasizes knowing yourself, mastering yourself, being content with what you have, not constantly needing more.
Yeah, and the description of the masters.
Yeah.
Someone who doesn't show off so people actually see their light, has nothing to prove so people trust them, has no specific goals so somehow everything they do succeeds. It's this journey where not knowing is true knowledge.
Healing yourself from needing to know everything, to become truly whole. It's a very different kind of wisdom path. So how does this ancient wisdom apply to, say, leadership or society? How does that work? When the master governs, the text says, the people are hardly aware that he exists.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, and they end up saying, amazing, we did it all by ourselves.
It perfectly illustrates that virtue of non-interference. It connects back to the Tao itself, which never does anything, yet through it all things are done.
Yeah.
The ideal leader, then, is someone who centers themselves in that natural flow. And if they do that, the text suggests the whole world would be transformed by itself in its natural rhythms.
That's a pretty radical idea for leadership, and it's stated so directly, too. Do you want to improve the world? I don't think it can be done. The world is sacred. It can't be improved. If you tamper with it, you'll ruin it. I mean, that's a direct challenge to anyone trying to fix things.
It really is. The master, instead, sees things as they are, without trying to control them. Lets them go their own way. Resides at the center, calmly. And on a societal level, there are warnings, too. When taxes get too high, people suffer. When government becomes too intrusive, people lose their spirit. The advice is pretty straightforward. Act for the people's benefit. Trust them. Leave them alone. It's a call for minimal, trust-based governance.
And what about conflict? The stance seems very clear there, too. Weapons are tools of violence, tools of fear. A good person avoids them unless absolutely necessary, and even then uses them with utmost restraint. Peace is the highest value. And this part is critical. His enemies are not demons, but human beings like himself.
Yeah, that humanizing aspect is key. And it raises that important question, how do we approach conflict, big or small? There's that saying from the general, rather than make the first move, it is better to wait and see. Rather than advance an inch, it is better to retreat a yard. This is described as going forward without advancing, pushing back without using weapons. It's about strategic humility, not aggression.
Which brings us back, in a way, to one of the most powerful, maybe counterintuitive lessons. That idea of softness. Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it.
That's such a core image. It's a deep insight into where real strength lies. The soft overcomes the hard. The gentle overcomes the rigid. It's not about brute force. It's adaptability, persistence, quiet influence, like water wearing down rock over centuries.
Yeah, the text uses that vivid comparison. We're born soft and supple, but in death we become stiff and hard. Plants, too, tender when alive, brittle when dead. And the conclusion, whoever is stiff and inflexible is a disciple of death. Whoever is soft and yielding is a disciple of life. The hard and stiff will be broken, the soft and supple will prevail. It's a pretty compelling case for flexibility.
Absolutely. And that principle applies everywhere in life. Be fluid, be responsive, don't be rigid. It connects that idea of letting your workings remain a mystery, just show people the results. A very humble, almost invisible way of being effective.
So, after this whole deep dive, what does it all mean for you listening right now? I think it's shown us that real wisdom often lives in these paradoxes, right? Finding strength in softness, letting go to actually achieve something, using non-being to get value from being.
Yeah, it really encourages us to look inward, to cultivate simplicity, patience, compassion, to trust the natural flow of life more. It's about being truly content with yourself and understanding that key insight. When you realize there's nothing lacking inside you, the whole world belongs to you.
The Tao Te Ching tells us, quite simply, knowing yourself, that's true wisdom. Mastering yourself, that's true power. It's about becoming like that newborn child, totally in harmony, or like water, gently dissolving the hardest obstacles through persistence.
And ultimately connecting this back suggests that when you find that harmony with the Tao, you can be at ease in your own life, just at ease. It means seeing the world as yourself, having faith in the way things naturally are, loving the world as you love yourself so you can truly care for everything.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you to maybe just mull over. The text states near the end, true words aren't eloquent, eloquent words aren't true, end quote. Wise men don't need to prove their point. Men who need to prove their point aren't wise, end quote. And it also notes the master gives to others, and the more they give, the wealthier they become. So the question is, what might your life or your work or even your leadership look like if you shifted focus away from accumulating towards giving and trusted that that path could actually lead to real wealth and genuine wisdom?